Hello, my name is Chinwenwa, your host on the Money Magnette Podcast. Welcome back to today's episode. Today, I'll be talking about how to overcome guilt and grief. And I totally understand. Guilt is a feeling that is gut wrenching, knee buckling. You just want to take back the hands of time to see if there's something you can do right to save the person. I get that. After someone dies, many people find themselves thinking, oh, should I have called more? Should I have spoken kinder words? Should I have spent more time with my loved ones? I totally get it. But one thing you should know is this: grief is a wound, and guilt is the voice that opens the wound. Now, the painful truth is that grief doesn't just mourn what would have been or what happened, it also mourns what didn't happen. Keep thinking back and playing in your head. What is it that I was supposed to do that I didn't do right? It keeps replaying over and over again. And these moments, you wish that you could relive it. Trust me, you always wish that you can go back to that story and change the hands of time. But today, I want to offer a better perspective to help you lighten the burden you are carrying. Guilt and grief is often an apology that you can no longer send or give to the person that you just lost. Okay. It is the mind's attempt to be able to control things and rewrite the story, to be able to give a different ending for a story that has already ended. Okay. So it is a human nature for us to try and control everything around us. It is natural, actually. Many a times we don't want to feel powerless. In fact, 90% of the time, I don't think anybody wants to feel powerless in any situation. So rather than feel powerless, we tend to go back and think, what could I have done better? What could I have done? And we keep opening up that wound over and over again. But the truth is that we are helpless to stop whatever that has happened. The person is gone, it is gone. And at that moment, we are totally helpless. We have to get to the point where we accept it that, okay, at this point, I'm powerless. I can't do anything. And even if I did what I think that I should have done, maybe it would have still ended the same way. Okay? Because naturally we always want to play back everything. But what if we look at it this way? What if I eventually do that thing that I thought that will save the person and still the person doesn't get saved? What do you do then? Then you begin to understand that things are not always in our power, especially the power of life and death. Okay, it's not always in our hands most of the time. Now, there are three common stages of grief. The stage one is the regret stage. At this stage, you are regretting things that you've done, missed opportunities to have saved the person, or calls that you never did, or visits that you never paid. And the argument keeps coming up in your heart like, oh God, I wish I could solve this problem. I wish I could go back and change the hands of times. But you have to remember this: you are punishing yourself for the information that you have today. Because if you knew today that the person was gonna die when the person died, and this is how you're gonna feel, you would have definitely done something better, right? Yeah, but you didn't know. So you think about the visits that you should have gone for, that you postponed, the kind words that you should have said, and then you remember that, oh my God, I could have done this, I could have done that. But then regret, we all know, is just actions that you wish you could have taken or not taken. It doesn't even mean that the person would have been saved either ways. Okay. The problem is that regret often judges your past self based on the information you have today. You are evaluating your choices that you made last time or the last time you saw the person alive based on what you know now, based on how things are going on now in your life, that now that you've lost the person. Reality of it is setting in, situations coming up here and there that you couldn't have handled on your own in the past. Maybe you relied on your loved one, but now you have to handle it. So now you're wishing, had I known, I can go back and change the hand of time and save this person and do that and do that. Yes, that is the stage you might be in now. It's called the stage of regret. There's also the stage of guilt that comes in after regret. That one is much more painful. It's much more like, oh, maybe I could have been there with them before they died. Maybe I could have found my way to the hospital or something. Maybe if you were not there, right? Or why did I miss her last birthday? Why did I miss his or her last birthday? Why did I miss his or her last event? I should have been there. All these are genuine feelings that will come up. And when you even try to smile, sometimes you'll be like, oh, am I even dishonoring them? What is what smiling when this person is no longer here? Okay. The greatest way, however, to honor this person or whoever, your parents, your loved ones' life, is not to stop living. Live life and be living it in a way that honors them by emulating the lessons they've taught you, the values you've learned being with them, and just the love that they gave you. It's enough to make them happy wherever they are. Remember that as you live your life, don't put your life on a standstill and don't let depression take deep hold of you. Yeah, you might get depressed. I did. But it's not something you should allow to take hold of you. Now, remember that I said that guilt is the voice that keeps reopening the wound. Now, for you to be able to take away this play that keeps on coming to your mind, you have to try and think of only happy moments you've had with this person or future happy moments you want to do in honor of this person. Okay, that will really help a long way. The third stage of grief is usually unresolved issues. Probably you had a quarrel with the person before the person died, and you're like, oh my God, or there were information that needed to be passed across, maybe between you and the person, and it's stalling a lot of process right now. And you'll be like, oh, how I wish I was here, or how I wish I got this information before this person died. And it's really like words left unsaid, questions left unanswered. It's so overwhelming most times. I get that. And then you'll be feeling guilty. Why was I not there? Why didn't I get this information out of this person and all that? But healing is still possible. That's the truth. Because your relationship with the memory can still be restored when you remember all the happy thoughts, all the happy things, all the good things you did for the person. You can choose to forgive yourself. You can still express what is left unsaid by writing. I did that when it was so overwhelming for me. I sat down one day, I wrote my mom a letter, and in fact, that was the beginning of my healing journey because I had to pour out everything that I was feeling at the moment. If you can also write back to yourself like they are writing to you. You know how they will tell you not to worry, whatever it is they will say. It is possible that you can write back as them to yourself because you already know how they talk. Okay, you can still choose peace. It is very possible. Trust me, this process helps. My one of the first things I did when I had so many emotions running through my head was to write a letter to my mom, and it really helped me. So I believe this will help as well. Now you'll be wondering, but why does guilt happen? Guilt happens because most people believe that maybe they did something wrong. You know, everybody, human nature, most times we're always trying to look for what caused this, who caused this, and all that. So we're trying to put a fault on someone or some place. So when you can't find the fault, most times you kind of bring the fault to yourself and say, "Oh, I'm the cause of this. Maybe if I had done this, if I had done that." That is how guilt works. So when you know this, and you know that sometimes, in fact, most of the time, it is not true. It's just a way of we controlling the story that is going on in our mind because we can't believe what just happened. So if we know that this is not true, we can protect ourselves from feeling helpless, not with guilt this time around, but we can protect ourselves by telling ourselves that we are not in control of anything. Tell yourself the truth. Life and death, Chinwenwa, is not in your hands. Those were the words I was saying to myself to help me fight guilt, okay? Because it is an illusion and we have no control over what could have happened. Even if we did what we thought we would have saved the person, what makes you think 100% that that person might have survived? We don't know that because it didn't happen that way, right? So just take it that guilt is an illusion. It is an illusion that is blocking your senses from seeing the reality and the truth of the matter, and you can overcome this. All right, so how do I overcome guilt and grief? It's not as easy, but it is as easy. Yeah, I say this because it took a lot of mental discipline for me to bring myself to overcome grief. And one of the things that helped me was before my mom died, I kept telling my siblings that I will never ever regret anything that I've done when she died. So when she died, at first I wanted to start regretting so many things, and I was laughing. I was like, "Is this the universe laughing at me?" Like, okay, you said you wouldn't regret and all, but anyways, I told myself, yes, I won't regret. So what I did, I started playing back the good memories I have with my mom to remove that illusion of guilt from my mind. Okay. So the first thing you do is first acknowledge the guilt. You acknowledge that yes, I feel guilty, I could have done this, I could have done that. You can even write it down, name it, say it out loud, and you can tell a trusted friend about it that, oh, I feel like if I had done this, if I had done that, maybe the person would have been alive. The person might not have much to say to you, but trust me, when you speak out like this, it helps your mind calm down, and you might also get a friend that understands this kind of thing or has been through this, and the person will be able to console you and let you see how it might not have even been possible if you know you did whatever you did, the person would have been saved. Okay. The second thing, like I said earlier, is to share it with someone that you trust, because sharing with someone you trust usually helps you release a load. They said when you speak out, there's a burden that lifts from your heart. When you speak out about the problem, there's a burden that lifts from your heart. So when you speak out like this and someone hears you, the person might not be in that illusion of guilt that you are in. The person might see clearly what was wrong and might know that eventually it wasn't your fault in any way. And the person might be more considerate, more compassionate when talking to you, helping you to get over it. And that voice the person uses to help you get over this guilt should be stronger than the voice of guilt running in your mind. Okay. So go to someone you really, really trust, that you know that is positive, that you know that will help you through this process as well. Another thing that can help is to talk to yourself as if you are your own friend. Okay, it worked for me too. Sometimes I'll sit down and talk to myself like, Chima, you said you're not gonna regret this or regret anything about my mom, and I will not do that. So I did that for myself. I was always talking to myself. I was being compassionate to myself, and I was like, okay, I deserve love. I deserve healing. I deserve, I was saying those things to myself consistently because I know one thing for sure. My mom would never ever want me depressed. I've been so depressed in the past before that. For many years, she was always fighting me that get up, get up, get up, get up, stop sitting on your ass. So I knew that if she were to shout from wherever she is to me, she would tell me to get up. I knew I had to do it for her. I knew I had to get over this depression. I knew I had to get over the guilt itself. I knew I had to leave all that in the past. And one thing I remember is everything is all in the past. I refuse to think about anything bad in the past. So if I have to go back to the past, what I do, I always run back to happy memories that I have with my loved one, my mom. That's how you can help yourself overcome guilt. Then the last thing you can do is to redirect the energy as well. What do I mean by that? When guilt comes, do something meaningful in honor of that person. You can go out and say, okay, I wanna. If your mom loved dancing, you can go out and dance on her behalf. If your mom loves singing, you can sing for her, on her behalf, or you can just go to motherless home. Do a donation, something that you know that I'm doing in honor of this person. One thing I did was I started singing hymns. My mom really loved singing hymns. She was in the choir. So I took a hymn book. Anytime I feel sad, I'll start singing and I'll start feeling happier. Like, okay, like I'm singing for her in her honor. So wherever she is, she can hear what I'm singing and she'll be happy. That's another way. You can pray as well. You can volunteer in some activities that will keep you busy, depression doesn't hit a moving target. So get up and move. Okay. Get up and move. Get up and move. Once the thought of guilt comes into your mind, get up and move. All right. So when you've tried every other thing that I've mentioned before and nothing seems to be working, it's over a month or 2 months, you're depressed, you're not moving forward, you're not getting out of your house, you're not doing what you used to love anymore. That is when you know that you have to seek professional help. Please reach out to a grief counselor or therapist. You do not have to carry this burden alone. Okay? That's good. Also, there's a quote I want you to put at the back of your mind, which helps me a lot. It is that grief is love that has nowhere to go. It means that you love someone so much, but you can't even figure out where do I send this love to. So, to clear that illusion of guilt, try and imagine this. Is there anything that you wouldn't do for the person if the person were to be alive now? You would always keep giving, you always keep giving your love, you always keep showing your love. Why? Because love is so awesome. Love is so expansive. It doesn't end. Even when spirit leaves the body, love never ends. It's still ongoing. Okay? Even if the person were to be alive now, you will still want to do something to show the person that you love them, right? Yeah, so it never ends. It never really ends. So there's no need to guilt trip yourself on it and be thinking, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. No. Rather, fill yourself with the 1,001 beautiful memories you had with the person when the person was alive. Fill yourself with the laughter, the joy, the peace, the essence of the person when the person was here with you on earth. Reframe your minds and thoughts. Fill it up with those beautiful memories, and you'll see that the guilt will begin to shift away. Okay. So before we move on to today's reflection, I want to share the serenity prayer that I believe can help you out in situations like this. And it goes this way: God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. You can go to Google and search for the prayer and print it out. Put by your bed to remind yourself of this whenever those guilty feelings come up. So, for reflection today, we're going to get a journal, okay? And I want you to bear this at the back of your mind that you can extend grace to yourself just the way God extends grace to us. And even our loved one that passed extends grace to us. Okay, remember you're not perfect. I know for some people this might not be the time to talk about God. I get that, or talk to God. Yeah, it took me months to even talk to God. I get that totally. But remember, you're human, and it is only human to feel all this emotion. But you also have a way to help yourself, because in the long run, what will guilt do for you? It will only stall your healing process. It will only set you back on things you're supposed to achieve in life. And you don't want that. Neither does your loved one that passed away wish that for you. Okay? So you have to learn to accept your humanity, move forward, and be compassionate to yourself. Now, for the reflection exercise, get out your journal and I want you to ask yourself this question: if I could say one thing to my loved one today, what would it be? Write it down. I don't care how it comes out. You don't have to bother yourself. You don't have to edit anything. Just however you feel, just write it down. Let it come out. Then you can also ask yourself another question. What do I believe they would say back to me? Okay. You'll be shocked at the answer you get because you already know how the person talks, how the person responds to issues. So you can even write that down as well and hold it to your heart closely, because it is a way of getting the message. So when you ask yourself that question, take time to listen to the answers and really, really hold it dear to your heart. Let that answer guide you and protect you from the guilt illusion that is marking up your mind. Okay. So I want to say a big thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Money Magnet podcast. I know that this episode has been a blessing to you. And if you know anyone that is going through grief that needs this right now, please feel free to share this. Join our newsletter, subscribe, like, share, Remember, guilt is not proof that you loved the person less. No. Love is the proof, okay?